Okay guys, looking up here, you see the first mark, the second mark, the third mark, and here's the fourth mark. Okay, this is the fourth mark that I keep mentioning, the 72-hour window. Now, it has not been literally 72 hours or 3 days, okay? It's been over 3 days. But when I say 72 hours, I'm talking about 24, 48, 72. On this program, on Earthquake 3D, which is free, you can go download it. It's free software, you can download it. Okay, when it hits this mark, and the screen looks like this, okay, wait, look right here one more time. Okay, hits this mark, and we're showing only 5.0 or greater, okay? Now here we are, this is part 3, so that you can clearly see what's going on here. I'm going to let this spin around. I'm going to shrink it and let it spin around so you can see that the only thing on the entire map are 5.3 or below. Okay? Occasionally you're going to get a 5.4 in there. If that's the case, that's okay. It doesn't change anything. It's still the same pattern. Okay? If you start getting 5.5s, 5.6s, it's not the same pattern. But when it shows like this, where you're showing 5.3 or 5.4 and below only, for this period of time, okay, I call it 72 hours. It's more like 4 days, basically. But this entire time zone here on Earthquake 3D, right here, these 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and there's nothing above a 5.3 anywhere on the map. Okay, and the best way to do that is to raise this up to 5 right here. Raise this to 5, so all you're seeing is 5.0 or greater. That way you can see if there's a 5.6 or a 5.8 or whatever. Okay, but when it looks like this, and you're at this fourth mark, what would be 72 hours on this thing, on Earthquake 3D, and it looks like this, then from this point forward, within days, meaning 1 to 2 or 3 days, up to 2 weeks, we will have a big earthquake, and a big earthquake being a 6.4 or bigger. Okay? I have yet to see it in the last year and a half. I have yet to see it go past 13 and a half days, basically 14 days, without a 6.4 striking after this pattern shows up. I have yet to see it. I'm not saying it cannot change, because as these quakes spread throughout the planet into diverse places, as Scripture puts it, or throughout the earth, this pattern can change. It's already changed before. Like I said, if you go back 2 years ago, you can't use this pattern because, first of all, you don't have the number of quakes that we have today, and there's more sporadic, and you know, they're not huge like they are today. 5.0 is a pretty decent sized quake. It's nothing massive or anything, but it's a pretty good sized quake, and there's a lot of them. Okay, but this is the pattern that I keep trying to show you guys. And this is the clearest I can do it. I showed you at the second mark, what I call the 24-hour mark. I showed you at the 48-hour mark, or the second mark. And now I'm showing you at the third and final mark, what I call the 72-hour mark, but it's more like 4 days. Okay? And you can see that at the fourth mark, we still have nothing above a 5.3. At this point only, within days to 2 weeks at the most, unless the pattern changes, and I don't think it will anytime soon, you always get at least one big earthquake. And within the last 7 months, we usually get multiple big earthquakes. And again, a big earthquake is a 6.4 or bigger. Also, I warned that to watch out for in the next 8 months to watch the New Madrid. And I want to show you guys what's going on with the New Madrid here. I'm going to zoom in right here to the United States. Remember, the New Madrid's right here where Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Missouri. This line right here is the New Madrid. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do, watch my arrow up here. Okay? We're still looking at the same period of time, but I'm going to bring this down so we can see the earthquakes that have struck below a 5.0. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out, and I want you to keep your eye right here on the New Madrid zone. And I'm going to bring this on down. Okay, here we go. Boom. Dead on the New Madrid. 4.0 magnitude. Okay? As I've said, guys, you got to keep your eyes open on this New Madrid over the next 8 months. Okay? Remember, all they were getting were 1s and a couple of negative quakes. And then they moved to the 1s, then they moved to the 2s, then they moved to the 3s. Here they are on the 4s. Remember I told you there's 2 patterns. any area, for example, let's go over here to Africa, any area where there is absolutely no earthquake activity, eventually, sooner or later, as they spread throughout the planet, eventually ones and twos show up, or negative quakes, negative magnitude earthquakes, and then ones, and then twos, and then threes, and then fours, and then fives, and then when they get in the 5.0 range, they can spike up to 6, they can spike up to 10.0, they can spike up to who knows, any magnitude. Okay, that's just an example. Over here, they're already getting ones and twos and threes in Africa. Okay, but they're not showing up because USGS does not show anything below a 4.6 magnitude earthquake anywhere outside of the United States. Okay, but go back in time and look at the New Madrid, and you'll see they were having negative magnitude earthquakes, and then they were having ones, 1.0 plus, and then they were moved into the twos and fell back to the ones, and then up to the twos again, and then eventually to the threes, and here they are now in the fours. Okay, two separate patterns. Okay, the 72-hour window pattern, which is what I've been showing you in this series of videos, and then now you're also able to see the growing magnitude pattern. Okay, so just quickly, I'm going to show you what's been going on for about the last 8 days here, so you can see the planet in the last 8 days. This is what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and move this down to 0 and above, and the computer will be real slow because of the sheer number of quakes. Okay. Now remember, between 0.0 and 4.6, it only show up in the United States. It ain't going to show it around the other continents. Okay, that's just the way USGS works. Okay, but there's the sheer number of quakes that we're having. This is not normal, guys. Go back 3 years ago and look at the quakes. This is not normal. I don't care what anybody says, it is not normal. And they've even spread out into the middle of the water. This is Hawaii right here, where that 4.8 is. Here's one in the middle of the water. They're spreading everywhere, guys. I've been trying to tell you guys this for the last year and a half now. You know, because the only reason I've been trying to tell you is because Scripture declares it. And he said that the generation of the fig tree, which is Israel, when Israel became a nation again in 1948, or some consider the 6-Day War to be the key turning point of the fig tree, whatever, he said, that generation of the fig tree, that generation shall not perish until all the events, guys, every single event, in the chronological order of Matthew chapter 24, Mark chapter 13, and in the book of Revelation, until those things happen, that generation shall not pass until every one of those events takes place all in that one generation. Okay, and I'm not trying to yell at you. I just keep trying to tell people this, and they don't listen. They reject the word and listen to man. Okay, as I've said, do not take my word for anything. Ever. Go read the word, guys. Get your eyes in the word. Read it for yourself. Now I'm going to take the rings off for a minute so you can see this U shape. And you can't really see it, but so many earthquakes. Okay, here's the line that I've been talking about. Goes down to Dallas, comes back up, and shoots through here. Okay, you can't really see it without the rings, but there's so many earthquakes nowadays I can't show you it. But go back and watch my other videos where all these earthquakes ain't here, and you can clearly see the U shape, clearly, in some of the older videos. So you have to go back and look at it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 0 and move it up to show only 4.6. 4.6 and above. Why? Because USGS will only show a 4.6 or above worldwide. Okay, so worldwide, over the basically the last 8 days, worldwide, this is fair now. This is across the entire planet. 4.6 and above. This is what it looks like. Okay, here's your South Pole. As you can see, it's clearly all the way around the South Pole, whereas just a year ago there wasn't any activity whatsoever around the South Pole at all. Okay, it's spread down there. And then the North Pole. As you can see, it's starting to spread up into the North Pole as well, whereas a year ago you didn't have that activity. 1 year ago, in 2011, in February, you didn't have any activity up around the North Pole. Just as you didn't have it really around the United States, except on the West Coast on the San Andreas Fault. So here you guys have it, all the way around the ring of fire, completely around, minus this gap here and that gap there, all the way across the X that I've talked about several times, all the way into Europe, all the way around the planet, even spreading through the Atlantic, everywhere except Africa, and Africa has had one right off of the coast. Okay, and they're starting to spread into they're spreading everywhere, guys, just as the Word declared it. Exactly as the Word declared it. You've got to stop listening to man, get in the Word, get ready, be prepared. He told you not to be deceived and to be prepared. And he told you each and every detail of the chronological events of that are going to take place. And he said, be ready and do not be deceived, and don't fall for the deceptions and the lies of man. Let every man be a liar. That includes the Growing Awareness channel and every other YouTube channel. That includes the governments. That includes your mom and dad and your brother and your sister and your daughters and your children and everybody else. Okay? And let only God be true. And when you do that, you can see Father at work. Okay? I love you guys. Get in the Word, stay in the Word, and get the Word in you. That's what she looks like. 4.6 and above. Worldwide. Okay? It's not showing each and every earthquake, but basically the majority of them it is showing. And that's what it looks like. Take off the rings. Let it go on around one time here, and then that's the end of the video, guys. But I love you, and I'm telling you, do not take my word for anything. Do not follow me. Do not bow to me. Do not do anything with me, guys. I am nothing more than a man just like you. Get in the Word. Read it for yourself. Do not be deceived in these days, guys. You can't afford to be, if you don't want the second death to have any effect over you. Okay? Doesn't matter, you're coming back here regardless. But for those who stand on the truth and stand in the Word, and if necessary, die for the Word. If it's necessary. Depends on what your position is and what you got to do. But if you have to die for the Word, die for the Word. But do not get off of the rock, the Word. He's declared it all. And everything He's declared is coming to pass. In this generation, right now, all together, all at once. Okay? So I love you guys, and I'll talk with you guys soon. Peace be with you all. There's no reason to be afraid or fearful, guys, if you got the Spirit of truth in you, the Spirit of God, which is the Spirit of truth and love. There's no reason whatsoever for you to fear. In fact, if the Spirit's in you, you have no fear. Why? You've already got the victory. You know the truth. You know what's coming. And you're ready. And you're excited. This is the most exciting time in the history of the planet ever to be alive, guys. The end of this age is upon us, and we're fixing to enter into the age of righteousness. And it's exciting. To me, it's exciting because I get it. I understand it. I see it. And I just full with joy. Every day I look forward to, okay, Father, let's see your Word coming to pass. And I go out and do the research to see how everything's, making sure it's all still coming to pass, you know. 'Cause even though I know it's going to, I still love it because it's just amazing, just the precision of the Word and just how exacting it is. It's just amazing to me. Anyways, guys, I love you. Get in the Word, stay in the Word, get the Word in you, and I'll talk with you guys soon. Peace be with all of you. Mercy be with all of you. And may Father give you wisdom and understanding in these days. You're going to need it. For sure. Okay. Talk to you guys later.